All right, welcome back. Hopefully you watched the first video. That was just kind of the intro to Canvas. Now I'm going to do a second one that talks a little bit about MyMathLab. MyMathLab is the online homework system that we'll be using. So again, the easiest way to access it is we're going to go through MyLCCC, go into Canvas. I'm going to click on our course, Math 1100. All right, I'm going to switch to student view for just a minute. Now there are a couple of different ways to access our MyMathLab homework. You can see MyMathLab listed here. You can see MyMathLab listed here. And then I'll also talk briefly about how we can get there through our assignments page. Okay, the first time you click on anything that has to do with MyMathLab, so I can click here or I can click here, it's going to tell you that you need to somehow register these two things together. I'm going to say, all right, go into MyMathLab. And that says, hey, you're not registered. You haven't linked your courses. So the first thing you have to do is go ahead and do this. You're going to click accept. I'm going to go as far as I can with this without an access code. If you have a Pearson account, you can log in right here. If you're not sure, it'll let you know. So if you enter an email address that's already associated with an account, it'll let you know. You can look up your password. You're going to sign in. All right, and then you do have to have an access code. So you can either purchase the access code through the bookstore, and if so, you'll just enter here and do the access code. Or you can pay right here. If you are waiting for financial aid to come in, or for some reason you just don't have the money right now, you can get temporary access for 14 days. So if I click there, I can get temporary access for 14 days. I'm not going to do that because I don't actually want to do that. But this is where you're going to kind of get that access. So I'm going to stop there because I can't really go any further without an actual student account. But remember, back here in our home page, you can access it through a variety of ways, but one way is through the syllabus. I have this accessing MyMathLab through Canvas illustrated guide. This is going to tell you how to hook these two up, how to make MyMathLab and Canvas talk to each other for the first time. You can just kind of follow the steps. We got all the way to here, okay, and it says, okay, once you get here, you're going to get that information. It's going to walk you through the last two steps and then say, all right, and then you're going to have actual access to MyMathLab. I'm actually going to leave student view now so I can kind of show you what it looks like once you have access. So once you have your access, okay, and again, you only have to do that linking once. Now MyMathLab and Canvas are linked. No need to do it again for the rest of our class. So once you have that access, that linkage, then you can access your assignments in a couple of different ways. The first is through that weekly to-do. So each week you're going to have a MyMathLab assignment. Our first one is right here, MyMathLab number 1, an orientation. I can just click right from there. And as soon as the internet catches up, oh, there I am. I'm right there in my MyMathLab assignment. I can do my MyMathLab assignment right here. So I can click on question 1. Our first assignment is an orientation, so it's kind of orienting us to the MyMathLab program. So, all right, hey, hi, orientation, we're gonna do some stuff. I can click my way through this. Oh, it says, let's see. Click the button near the choice to select your answer, then click check answer button. Choose the smiling face below. All right, this looks like the smiling face. I'm gonna choose it, and then I'm gonna say check answer. Oh, MyMathLab tells me that I'm correct. Great. Now I can continue going on. Now, one thing that I think some people don't realize is you don't have to work MyMathLab questions in order. So I can click on this little box and it shows me all of the different questions. I've completed question 2. That's the only one. Oh, I think I'm going to skip till question 15, see what that looks like. This says, what does the digit 4 mean in the number 894,833? Well, that 4 right there represents 4,000. So I'm going to see if that's what they're looking for. It says type the digit and the place value name. So let's try 4,000 and see if it likes that. Oh, it did. Great. Well, what does it look like if I get an answer wrong? So let's get one wrong. I'm going to go to question number 8. Okay, so this is helping us practice graphing. And so it says, okay, I'm going to click the line tool and the dash selector button on the graphing palette and draw a dash line in here. All right, so one thing that I think is really helpful is I'm going to actually make this bigger because that's a little too tiny for me. Then I can kind of move it around. I'm going to draw a line between those 2 points. Okay, I can delete the line. I can clear and start over. Okay, All right, I'm going to draw the line wrong so we can see what happens when I get it wrong. Notice that I've drawn the line wrong, but I'm going to go ahead and save it and say, oh yeah, I feel good about that. I'm going to check my answer. Front row, MyMathLab says, oh, sorry, that's not correct. And notice that it gives me a lot of information here. I encourage you to read through that because that's MyMathLab trying to help you out, okay? So read through this information. It's saying, nope, you didn't get it right. But here's the nice thing. It's going to give me another chance. I'm going to pull this open, and I'm going to say, okay, let me try and fix it. Now, I'm not doing a very good job of reading directions because I think that that's all MyMathLab wanted me to do, and it's not. Right? It actually wants me to do some other things, but I'm going to say, oh, I'm not paying attention. I'm going to check my answer. Oops, and it says, okay, still not right. In this case, it's going to give me another chance. In other assignments, it may not give you another chance. It may, however, give you the option of doing a new question. So same type of question, slightly different numbers. And then if I go in here, notice that I haven't gotten that one right yet. So I can still keep going. Okay. So this is how we're going to navigate through MyMathLab. You can navigate right here in Canvas, okay? And that's just by, oops, yeah, I wanna leave. So we got to it that way from our weekly assignments and then just clicking on the assignment inside kind of our assignment list for the week, right here. Another way you can get to that assignment is you can just click on assignments, either from the home page or the side menu. I'm gonna scroll down to MyMathLab online homeworks, and there it is. There's that homework again. Notice it gets me right back into that home screen. So that's the first way that you can work through MyMathLab assignments, right there in Canvas. Now there's another way that you can work through MyMathLab assignments. And it's also a place where you can find some additional resources for this class, including the textbook, so the e-version of the textbook. So I'm gonna go ahead and click on the MyMathLab little box there in our home screen. You can also get there by clicking on the MyMathLab and Mastering tab in your left-hand menu. Now you won't have these instructor tools, but you can click on the student links here. So you can click on either all assignments or MyMathLab with Pearson eText Course Home. That's gonna open up a new tab and take you actually into MyMathLab. Now again, it's gonna throw me into the instructor view, so I'm gonna click over here where I have the student view. So this is kind of what you see as a student. So notice a couple of things. It tells you, hey, these are what's coming up next. It gives you a countdown to the next due date. And so you can go ahead and right in here, work those questions. Hey, look, I got those 2 questions right in Canvas, and those have transferred over to MyMathLab, so that's really great. But again, I can work it in here. Some people like working it over here better because you get a little bit bigger graphs than when you're within the Canvas shell. Okay, so you can work it in there. The other thing that's really helpful over here is you have access to the e-text, and you can access the e-text in 2 ways. One is by clicking e-text, and then clicking e-text again, and then waiting patiently for it to download. Not download, but open. And so this is going to give you access to the full book. So just like I have this paper copy here, it's hard copy, right? This whole thing, this whole giant book is now at your fingertips right here. So you can access all of the book there. You're going to be required to do readings from the book every week. So make sure that you're doing those. If you don't have the hard copy, this is one place that you can do them. Really handy to look at the table of contents. So for example, one of our first reading assignments is section 1.1. Oh, there we go. I can read through right here, section 1.1. Okay. We also may be looking at the activities in this book. And so those are the classroom activities in part 2. And again, let's look at the classroom activities for section 1.1. So this is another place you may need to go. So that's, again, we got to that by going e-text, and then that gets us into the whole book. Sometimes it can be a little unwieldy to look at the whole book at a time. So the other thing you may want to consider is the chapter contents. So chapter contents are just broken up by chapter. So then I can go into chapter 1 and see all of the things in chapter 1. I can look at homework. Notice that this is not the same homework that you're doing in Canvas, but this is another example of homeworks that you can look at. You can take some quizzes and tests if you want to study by yourself. You can view the chapter opener. Again, this is just now opening up my textbook, the e-textbook. So that takes me right to where I wanted to be. Being a little slow. And so I can kind of work my way through that. I can look at the chapter summary. I can look at the class activities. all right here. Okay. Now, I've clicked specifically into section 1.1, and notice that there are some additional resources here. So in addition to just being able to read the textbook, you can look at some extra stuff here. You can look at the practice exercises, view the problems, and you can go right to the class activities here. So you can read the textbook, and then also look at these extra resources here. So that's another kind of nice, useful resource within chapter content. I'm going to click us back to the main menu. The other useful thing in MyMathLab is this multimedia library. So the multimedia library is all kinds of extras that you get because we're doing this as an online class versus with this hard copy book. So let's just look at a couple. All right, fractions. I see that scary word there. So let's look at fractions. So I've selected the chapter. I can select a specific section. In this case, I'm not going to. I'm going to look at everything our textbook has available for that chapter. So again, I did chapter 2, selected all, and said find now. Ooh, look at all it has. So it has some e-manipulatives. So we have our hard copy manipulatives here. This is also going to give us all kinds of other manipulatives. I can find the textbook sections here, the multimedia textbook sections, and then a bunch of videos. So here's a demonstration video of using a math drawing to solve a word problem. These IMAP videos are fantastic. So we'll be using the IMAP videos in our class, but they basically show students trying out these concepts themselves so that you can get a real world idea of what happens when students do these things. There's some Common Core videos, some classroom videos. So these are really fantastic, and we will be specifically using these for our course. I want to look at one of these. Let's look at visualizing fractions. So again, this is an e-manipulative. All right, let's get started. What's going to talk to us?
From the ratio shown by first using these buttons to divide the shape so that the number of segments equals the denominator.
So this is helping us do some visualization. We're going to do a lot with visual models here because those are really powerful for students. And so while I really like the concrete models, we're also going to explore these online models. So make sure that you're using those resources, even if I'm not explicitly saying, hey, go check this out in your day-to-day stuff. All right, some thoughts on MyMathLab. As with any computer program, sometimes it's frustrating and sometimes it's buggy. One thing that often helps is MyMathLab is designed or works best on Google Chrome. I've used it with other web browsers as well, but I believe it's optimized with Google Chrome, and so you may want to try that if you're having troubles. If you're having other troubles, I'm going to go back to our website here. So I'm back in our course website. I'm going home. I'm going syllabus. Down here I have a MyMathLab FAQs. So I have just some frequently asked questions and different things that I've learned through using MyMathLab for several years. So you can take a look at this. If you need support, you are welcome to contact me, but I am not a MyMathLab tech. So I can sometimes solve simple problems just from my experience, but don't be afraid to contact them directly with this tech support link is here. You can call them, you can email them, you can get a hold of them in lots of ways. And then some helpful hints down here. So looking at the interface, looking at kind of how do I use all the different things that are involved in MyMathLab. So you may want to take a look at that MyMathLab FAQs. Some things I really like about MyMathLab is you get immediate feedback, right? So you know right away if you've gotten a question right or wrong. And it does try to give you some guided feedback in terms of it says, hey, you got this wrong. Maybe it looks like you're trying this. Maybe try this instead. You can also, when you're working on the assignments, I forgot to mention this. So I'm going to go into, I'll go into our second assignment, which is an orientation assignment. Within a given question, if you're having trouble, so, I have no idea how to do this question. I should probably watch the video first. But I've watched the video, I'm not sure what to do. Look right here, it says question helps. So I'm going to click on question helps. Now, depending on the question, there will be different things offered here. For this particular question, you can click on textbook and it'll take you directly to our textbook. You can also email me directly. So, look, there's my email. Okay, it tells me what section and what question, and then there's a place for you to type in your information, type in your question. Now, one thing that's really helpful for me is if you don't leave this blank, like give me some type of indication. I'm not sure what they're asking. I entered this, I thought it was the right answer, MyMathLab told me it was wrong. Those are really helpful for me, so then I can give you some feedback on what you've gone wrong. One thing to realize is that when you email me, it goes directly to my LCCC email address. When I reply, it's going to go to whatever email address you signed up for MyMathLab with. So if you signed up with your LTRIP email address, great, it's going to go there. If you signed up with a Gmail address, that's where my response is going to go. So make sure that you're checking that because I will respond to anything that you send me. Let's see if we can find one that has some of the other available hints. All right, so this guy, again, you don't know how to do this one. Notice that when I click on question helps here, it gives me some other options. It can help me solve this. So it's gonna say, hey, here's some helps. It's gonna give me 5 different helps, and I can walk my way through these different helps, and it's gonna kind of guide me in that path. I can also view an example. So it says, all right, you wanna see an example of a problem that's sort of like this? Here we go. And it's gonna walk me through exactly how to solve that. So there's a variety of ways that you can kind of structure and help your learning as you're going through these problems. Now, one thing I really, really recommend is please don't go directly to the homework. Make sure that you do the readings first, in particular read the textbook, and do the readings before you try doing the MyMathLab homework. Otherwise, it's just going to be real frustrating for you. If you have questions, make sure that you're reaching out either by email, by phone, through the MyMathLab email me function. But hopefully this will be a good tool for helping us learn as we go along this semester.